Welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia with Shane Williams and Paul Mason, where they share the latest manufacturing and tech news and explore innovative solutions to help you improve your business.
Manufacturing Week 2025, Shane. Last week we covered off robots, automation and equipment. This week we're looking at 3D printing and all types of design and manufacturing software, sort of more around that digitization of the factory floor. What were some of the highlights you thought were, really interesting from this episode?
Yeah, I think we had a good chance to talk to a good coverage of the 3D printing guys across Core Additive and Emona and looking at the different brands and what they're doing and how they're tackling the space. We had a chance to chat to Central Innovation about their DriveWorks product and how they're implementing that in the cloud. And the Aspect PT guys with their MES software was really interesting. But I think the core one for me was the when you were nerding out with the guys at Monash around their innovation space. And then, of course, I had a chance to talk to the guys at 3D Logistics. So there's a fair bit packed into this episode. I think people get a lot of value.
Absolutely. All right, well, let's not keep them waiting.
We're here with Matt from Emona. Welcome to the show, Matt.
Thanks, Paul. Nice to meet you.
Now, tell us a little bit about, you got all these awesome 3D printers here. Tell us a little bit about what you got on display here and what they do.
Yeah, thanks, Paul. At Emona, we like to cover the full gamut of additive manufacturing. So we go from entry-level basic FDM printers that are becoming really popular with the Bamboo Labs, all the way through to the high-end industrial Mark Forge machines that will print in carbon fibre, Kevlar, fiberglass and metal. So we've got a full range from FDM, from the cheap hobbyist prosumer, really good entry level, up to the really high-end FDM industrial machines. We also have SOS and laser powder bed fusion from EOS and Formlabs, and some resin 3D printers as well from Formlabs. So we try to cover all the different technologies so we can supply the right equipment to the right use case.
Yeah. We were at the AMW speaker stand earlier today, and they were saying 3D printing, additive manufacturing is the fastest growing section of manufacturing at the moment. But what sort of stuff are you seeing? What kind of applications, use cases?
Oh, look, there's use cases are endless, right? Because so many people are doing something niche along the way. Sometimes it's mass manufacturing is not always the way for 3D printing. There's a lot of noise in the industry around trying to get at that point. The reality is mass manufacturing is not where additive lends itself. It's small batch, hard to make, custom manufacturing is where additive lends itself to be successful. And that's what Australia does well, right? We don't have the mass automakers anymore and all those things, but we do have a lot of innovative companies doing lots of small, intricate, detailed and large things as well. So it suits our wheelhouse quite well. The right technology for the right use case is important with additive.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Even at the air show we've seen just in the last couple of months, there was companies there 3D printing replacement aircraft parts,
Yeah, certainly. I mean, aerospace has always been one of those areas where 3D printing's been promised and delivering for a long time. There's lots of good use cases. SpaceX used 3D printing to print their rocket engines. Gilmore Space is an Australian story up in Queensland. They're using a lot of additive manufacturing for their rockets. Down to drones, we use a lot of Formlabs and Mark Forge printers for drone manufacture. Not mass manufacture, but small batch production of UAVs, UAS, ROVs. Really popular in Australia. A lot of good stuff happening in that space.
Yeah, cool. Could you maybe show us some of the stuff you guys are printing with?
Yeah, certainly. So Mark Forge has been a leader in high-strength parts for a long time. Yeah. So they print a base plastic material and they reinforce it with a continuous strand of fibre. So not chopped strand, but continuous strand of carbon fibre. So if you think about reinforcing a concrete slab with a Rio mesh to get those properties, that's what you're doing with a Mark Forge composite machine. So
we've seen lots of gear levers and those kind of things.
Lots of gear levers. So you can print parts like this in the XY plane that are as strong as machined aluminium. Yeah. So you print the base plastic material, which is this nice nylon chopped carbon fibre they call onyx. Yeah. Nice surface finish, really repeatable, looks great. That comes from the material storage down here, and you'll see there's a spool of carbon fibre in here that will reinforce the inside. So whilst you don't see it, this is full of carbon fibre and incredibly strong. So that's out of this. They've got various sizes, the desktop version up to the industrial machine here, the FX10, which is their new one, which will also print in metal. So out of this machine you can also print out of metal, so you can do stainless steels, copper and tool steels in a three-step process, and you get an equivalent of a cast part out of this, out of the same machine. So this one here. We then do, as I said, we do EOS. So EOS is a long-standing stalwart of the additive manufacturing industry, been around for decades, and they do laser powder bed fusion. So a layer of metal powder, use a laser to sinter it together, more powder, more laser, and you full build box of the for the prints, loose powder and sintered powder, and you come out with this sort of structure here, which you see a lot of latticing.
Nice.
But this could be titanium grade for medical implants or aerospace. Lots of high-end applications for this, and they'll do metal and polymer versions like that. So the laser powder bed fusion and also SLS polymer printing as well.
Yeah, right.
And we do the same with Formlabs. So Formlabs is an entry-level SLS system, but the most commonly sold SLS brand in the world. 60% of all SLS systems in the world, is my understanding, that's what I'm told, are Formlabs printers, and they're really making the technology accessible.
Yeah, we had one about 20 years ago, printing little enclosures and
so that was probably the resin printer, but they've gone from the resin-based printers, which they still do, the new Form 4L, which you can get a look at in a moment, and the Form 4 have taken the world by storm with the resin front. They're doing really great new technology. And the powdered systems as well.
Cool. Really Why don't you take us down and have a look?
Cool. So this is the Mark Forge stand. As I said, we do the bamboo range on the back wall here as well. So really popular FDM machines from hobbyist level through to sort of prosumer level. Really popular. At the front here we have the Formlabs resin printers. So the Form 4 and the Form 4L is their latest large format resin printing. So that's the two sizes there. They've changed from a laser-based system to a masked LED system, so 4 to 5 times faster than traditional SLA printers from Formlabs. So that's really, really good. Nice. At the back here, you'll see the fuse system. So what you do with a fuse system is similar to what I described with the metal powder. You lay a layer of a polymer. You then laser sinter that. More polymer laid down, laser sinter it, and you full build chamber of parts. So what you get is ultimate design freedom. So this is all printed in one part. You can do lots of different design that you otherwise couldn't do. Same with these sort of toggle switches. All this is printed in place, and the loose powder is shaken out at the end. So that's the technology we do with both Formlabs and EOS for various grades of material, typically nylons. And one of those industries I was saying before is that drone UAV market, for example, in an aerospace application. This build chamber here, which is a relatively small build chamber, look of it, it fits two full drones built in here. Wow. So Australia's innovating in this space, and we're getting a lot of UAVs and UAS for agriculture, for defence, for all sorts of areas. And we're getting two full builds in there. And, when you unpack it, you come out and you assemble your drone. Right? So you piece it all together. So there's 2 of these drones all in this build here. So, wow. Yeah, so as I said, we like to cover the full range of tech from entry-level FDM, which is really accessible to people at home, people at work, people at schools, all the way through to laser powder bed fusion and more.
Yeah, fantastic. Oh, full gamut.
Yeah, exactly.
Matt, thanks for coming on the show. It's been really interesting.
Appreciate your time.
We're here with Mark from Central Innovation. Welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia, mate.
Thanks, Paul.
Excellent. So we're here. I'm looking in the background here. We're talking SolidWorks. We're talking DriveWorks, my favourite product configurator. Apparently, you guys have got some fancy new PDM system that we need to hear about. I don't know if anyone's briefed you on it yet, but
I know a little bit about it. PDM, we've helping people put it into the cloud if they want to. So we could get organised and we do a statement of work with them, and then once we've sort of nailed that down, we're either Azure or AWS. We can get it put into the cloud for them, and then we can help them with the updates and all that sort of stuff, the hard stuff. So it can actually take them outside of having to do it themselves if they want to. So PDM can be a little bit complicated. So what we do is we try to take that out, and by making sure that we can help them update their software, help them with the move. So we've got sort of a full set of tools that we use, and an implementation team that specifically does PDM.
Yeah, I was going to say that because I think that's the thing that often people overlook. They're like, I can get SolidWorks from anywhere, I can buy the software from anyone. But it's all about the implementation, right? It's about helping them through what are their requirements, how are you going to customise, what features do you need.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the IT guys, they're good. They can come in, but doing something as a one-off, or maybe once a year or once every 2 years, that makes it really hard for them. Whereas our guys do it, like every week.
Yeah, right.
And that's no word of a lie. It's every week there's some sort of implementation going on, and there's so many different configurations out there of what people want. So our guys, it's the thing that you get through experience, I guess.
Yeah, it's kind of like an independent look into your business, right?
Yeah.
Come up with some ideas that you may not have thought of.
Yeah, exactly. And tasks that you want to happen, maybe you pass something out as released and it'll automatically make the PDFs for you so that you can put them to the workshop. So lots of things like that. And replication, like if you've got a couple of geographically different places, we can have it replicated over there as well. So, yeah. And then we've also gone to Dassault Systems have got 3D Experience platform.
Yep.
And that's got its own Anovia-based PDM system. So that's also cloud-based. So I guess what we've got is a lot of options for the customers. You want to go with PDM, sort of what you have had before, and put it up to the cloud. We can help you with that, or we can help it put it on a server. Or if you want to go with 3D Experience and Anovia on the cloud, well then we're all set up to do that as well. Right. So it's just about options and what's right. Some companies have like a cloud focus, so they want to get everything onto the cloud, but that doesn't necessarily mean they have to go with 3D Experience. It depends on what's right for them, and that's what we have the discussion with. If they've got huge files, often it's better that we can put it on like an AWS or an Azure rather than try to load it up using the cloud software. So, yeah,
it makes sense. So if I'm one of those old school guys and I've got my server racks in the back office, what's the advantages to me of moving to a cloud-based system? Is that more about having it distributed, more accessible by teams? Yeah, well, what's the main advantage? What does
there is that. I guess for us, if you had your own server and you could keep going because nothing's going to be as quick as that. Yeah. You're in the next room unless you've got a rat gnawing on a cable. It's going to be the quickest. But then with the cloud, you've also got the backup of these systems like AWS and Amazon. If you use 3D Experience on the cloud, they have a backup system for the cloud content as well. So you can keep the server and keep that going, but then maybe you'll get to the stage where you say, I'm going to have to invest in a new server, and we're not looking to do that. So rather than invest in a new server, then you could have a look at the costs of going on cloud, and that could simplify the whole thing for you.
I guess scalability as well.
Scalability.
Security.
You need a little bit more, they give you a little bit more. So there's all of that. Another thing we had is one of the new tools is MaxLink. And that's for it's an add-in for SolidWorks. It actually lets you take the bills of material out and put it into a system and connect it to your ERP system if you want to go that far. But it also lets you manipulate it. So there's all that document management that you get with PDM. But with MaxLink, you can actually manipulate the bill of materials so that, things like paint and grease and manuals, all that stuff that gets delivered, that's not necessarily in the BOM, in a bill of materials for a mechanical drawing, they can be in there. And you can have it tied to your engineering resource, bring it back and put all the numbers in and that sort of thing. So we're sort of investing a lot. I mean, you can see we've got Solid Professor for people to learn. We've got a training passport. Sharp Task, a bunch of apps that allow us to modify and make sure it happens quickly for you with these APIs. So that sort of thing takes investment. Similarly, DriveWorks, which is a configurator, which can make jobs a lot more cost effective.
For sure.
So I think we were talking about that before. So all those things are like investments that we make, that we have people that deal with every day. So
something like DriveWorks is not something that you can just set up overnight. It takes quite a bit of input to get all the parameters right.
Exactly. So that's what we're sort of known for, and we try to concentrate on our customers. And I guess not to sound too commercial, but trying to get them to get the best out of the software and be most efficient.
You're spot on with the investment, because they absolutely need to invest in the time to get it right the first time. Like something like DriveWorks, spend the time up front and the savings out the other end with your sales. And, getting that product right from the customer side is, it's priceless if you set it up properly.
Yeah, we've found that if the guys give us a go at getting in there and getting them set up with any of the products, really, they tend to go a lot better. Unfortunately, with the engineers, a bit like myself, you read the instructions last.
Yeah.
Like you get in there and you give it a go and that's not working. Shit, I've got to read the instructions. But yeah, we've got people that are increasingly saying, okay, well, I'm not getting paid to do that. What I am getting paid is to do this. So we'll get you to fix this up for us, to get it all ready to go, and then you bring us in and show us how to use it. So we've talked about the process, and then we show them how to use it, and then we sort of touch base with them.
Before we wrap up, Mark, I have to ask, is like for the next 12 months or the last 12 months, what's the biggest game changer? Is it all these integrations and add-on software and plugins and it connects everything together? Is it the data? What's sort of the game changer in this land?
I think a lot of it's about options for our customers. Yeah, so as you said, there's putting PDM on the cloud if you want to do that. Your PDM on the server's always been there, but then you've also got cloud software, and maybe that's not right for everybody, but that is an option for you, that you can actually work in 10 different countries because it's all connected.
Perfect. Yeah. Thanks for coming on the show, Mark. Good chatting with you.
Yeah, thanks, Paul.
Cheers.
I'm here with Bruce from Aspect PT. Bruce, welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia.
Wonderful. Thanks. Great to be here, Shane.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Yeah.
So we're here today catching up a little bit about what you guys do, and before we get into the technology, which I'm sure our listeners and viewers are going to be particularly excited about, I just wanted to talk like higher, bigger picture. So tell us a little bit about what Aspect PT does, the types of customers you help, and the business problems you solve.
Good, good question. So Aspect's all around production scheduling, production visibility. So one of the challenges in manufacturing businesses is understanding what's happening actually on the shop floor. Most businesses will have an ERP system or some sort of system that looks after the financials or the inventory on the carpeted side, but they lack that visibility. They lack a tool for the concrete side, where the machines are, where the people are, where production's made. And so being able to bring those two together is extremely valuable for anybody who wants to schedule, who wants to plan, who wants to understand optimization on the shop floor, who want to digitize. There's all sorts of great reasons to get a solution dedicated for the production floor.
100%. Yeah, I know. I talk to people and they say, hey, we've got a really good ERP and we know what our sales forecast looks like and we know what our numbers look like, but I couldn't possibly tell you whether we have more capacity. I couldn't tell you whether we're at, where can I sell more? What are my opportunities because of that disconnection, right?
Yeah, exactly. And that's the problem we solve. That's the gap. So the ERPs do a great job with that, but they don't talk to the machine out on the shop floor, or they don't talk to a work centre that's actually doing something that is needed for that sales or for that planning purpose. So that's the last, it's kind of like the last mile.
Last mile,
So and it's where you get the most value, because it's when you bring both together and integrate them and have two-way flow of information, you get a lot of visibility, you get monitoring, you get performance indicators, you get a great deal of information that's really beneficial.
And I sort of tend to talk about this. You've got the machinery out on the floor, you've got PLCs and SCADA and that sort of connection layer, if you want to talk of that. And then there's a gap, and then there's ERP. And we're trying to plumb it, and it almost feels like you're filling that hole.
Exactly. So we grew out of that PLC SCADA level, and the business owner said, in actual fact, we need something in the middle, something that brings that level into the ERP. And that middle layer is exactly where we play. And so we start with scheduling, and then we can do all sorts of wonderful things after that.
And so I think let's talk about that. So obviously scheduling is one important component of this. Maybe just talk to us a little bit about some of the capabilities.
Well, once you've got your scheduling done, you can then drive into OEE, overall equipment effectiveness, a very key metric for most manufacturers. So you can start analysing, are machines running at the right speed? Are they running too slow? Where are our bottlenecks? And then you can start that continuous improvement cycle and start driving optimization across the floor. You also get involved with things like traceability. That's a really big driver for a lot of our guys, particularly in the food industry, a lot of compliance. There's a lot of paper out on the shop floor at the moment, and people are ticking boxes, and some of them are doing it erroneously, in so much that they'll retrofit a tick, at 7 a.m. and it might be 9 a.m. already. And so digitizing that removes all of that risk associated with not doing those checks in time, the recall, the auditing advantages you get when it's digital. I've been to businesses and there's just screeds of paper for years of production, and it's just a nightmare for an auditor, or it's a nightmare for the owner or the business investor to understand how's our business tracking, where are we? Are we optimising our machines? Do we need to buy a new machine? And if so, what's the capacity that we're trying to fill?
Yeah, I think that the elusive OEE is something that I feel like these sorts of solutions are helping to close the gap on.
Yeah.
I'm also seeing businesses try and tackle it from, can we just suck all this information into a data lake and put business objects over the top, or can we put Power BI over the top?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, you could, but it feels like a lot of heavy lifting for something that's already been built, right?
Exactly, and you've nailed it there. There are a lot of databases out there. We deal with a lot of people who've just got spreadsheets and they just slice and dice for infinitum. But we've got that all pre-canned and it's already out of the box to go for those businesses. So.
And when you say food industry, I'm assuming you've got multiple different verticals that you can operate in.
Yep.
And the ones that I tend to sort of spend some time around at the moment are in the whole space where, is there a product recall? Great. Well, then, what does our process look like? What do we know batch numbers? Do we know what machine? And can we find out why there was a problem based on the data? And the short answer is a lot of these places that are using spreadsheets can't.
Oh, they can't. And I'm always amazed how many businesses I go to that are very, very manual on the shop floor. There's still hand pen paper, there's still whiteboards, there's still spreadsheets in a production manager's, isolated environment.
Yeah.
That's not connected, it's not exposed. So there's a lot of risk associated with that. But there's a lot of gains to be made if you can actually streamline your business and get away from those silos of information that always exist. And our system does exactly that. So it's the gold standard for the shop floor, really.
Yeah, awesome. All right, so quick plug for Aspect PT, go.
Well, if you're not using Aspect PT and you're a manufacturer, you should probably have a look at it. There's so much there to offer. We are in the bucket called MES, Manufacturing Execution Solutions. There's a number of them. A lot of them are from the Northern Hemisphere and they attract Northern Hemisphere pricing. We're local, so we're a lot more attuned to what's happening in this Australasian market.
Awesome, mate. It's been good to have you on the show. Thanks for your time.
Great. Thank you, Shane.
Cheers, mate.
So I'm here with Gernot from CAD-IT Australia. Thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Thanks for having me, Paul.
No worries. So I'm looking at all this cool software we've got in the background here. We've got PLMs and PDMs and CAD software and augmented reality, integration, all sorts of really interesting things. But I come across this and I understand this is built from your Tulip, no-code platform.
Sure.
Just an example of some of the kinds of things you can do. Why don't you tell us a little bit about it?
So Tulip Interfaces has called frontline operations platform in order to support the guy who actually has to do the work.
Yep.
So what we do is we create 3D design, create process plans and work instructions, and make it available for the frontline operations guy. It's a computer-guided assembly instruction, step by step. Mm-hmm. In addition, we have inventory management, so we manage the inventory in the bins. Yeah. We scan the worker, whether he is allowed to do certain functions here and capabilities. Mm-hmm. And then we lead him through a whole process of assemble, in this case, a wall flow.
Like a guided work instruction.
Correct. Correct. It's computer guided, so the lights will show which part he has to pick. Okay. Step by step. Yeah. We measure the time for each step, so in order to improve your processes, you need to know where is the biggest gap. Then we do, as I said, the inventory management. We do the quality tests step by step as well, so we don't do quality check at the end. We do it during the process, in line during the process. So in order to save time and prevent rework at the end when everything is done.
Yeah, right. And I guess also tracking, aside from inventory, you can monitor all sorts of aspects of the production, live tracking.
Correct. So this is the kind of, we call it a visibility dashboard for the operations manager. He sees exactly how many clocks are produced, how many quality checks have passed and failed, what's the current status of the station, is it idle, is it running, is it in maintenance, the stock health, and the cycle time. So, and he can compare the different, more workbenches, he can compare which worker is doing better and which worker is doing it.
Cool. So I guess
all good.
I guess this is the interesting part in the last few years, right? Transitioning to no code, becoming more and more important. AI-driven stuff as well. It's changing the whole game. I guess this is just the tip of the iceberg. What other kind of applications can you do with this?
So we have mainly, we do the inventory, so we can manage the warehouse. We can do the production, doesn't matter what industry it's in. The beauty of the Tulip interfaces is we call it composable MES. So it's actually a manufacturing execution system, but it's composable. So you tell me as a customer, where do I have a challenge? Then we create an app, a work app, in order to support the challenge. And that's how you build up the whole system. Some of the customers, they use it only in quality, some they use it in inventory, start there. As here shown here, it's work instructions, so there is no limitations. We have a new project going on with labs, so pharmaceutical labs, medical device labs, and it's all GXP supported, so the new standard in manufacturing. So, and it's, as you mentioned, it's a good point, it's low code, no code. So we facilitate citizen developers, so we help them to get on the go. But if they want to do the new few apps themselves, do so. So we can support them in that way.
That's interesting.
And it's a good concept because it's a terminal-based concept. Doesn't matter how many users you have, it's based on terminals. So the licensing model is pretty easy to understand and affordable for small and medium businesses. That's
so I guess you can integrate this with IoT sensors around the factory with all sorts of things. Your colleague was telling me before the different models, because it sounds like, being no code, a manufacturer can get in there and develop their own systems and their own code. But also, you can train them on how it works. There was 3 models he was telling me about. So one is that you guys will train them how to use it. One is they will go off and do it themselves, or you can have integrators or yourselves can kind of implement it. So it makes it quite flexible.
The most of the time when we get involved is integration into other systems. So it's easy for a citizen developer to create the apps. It gets a bit more complicated if you link it to an ERP system, for example, or a PLM system. Then you need both sides of the of the package
the same
and
language,
understanding.
Perfect. Gernot, thanks for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I'm here with Keanan from Monash in the innovation space. Thanks for coming on the show, mate.
Nice to meet you, Paul. My name's Keanan Granland. I work at Monash Innovation Labs in Monash Smart Manufacturing. We are basically the centre point at Monash for industry to come on campus, where we have office spaces and wet labs, and we help support them with all this amazing resources as well.
Sounds like that's a place where all these SMEs walking around here want to go, right?
100%, and we offer the best graduates in Victoria as well through all these amazing programs, from industry partnership programs to doctorate programs as well. I got my PhD at Monash through these programs.
Nice. I was stopped by the booth before, and someone was explaining this cool, train concept for the rail industry. Why don't you tell us a bit about that?
Of course, It's the Monash Railway Express team, supported by the Monash Institute of Railway Technology, IRT. But their goal is to build a miniature locomotive and ship that over to Europe to attend some competitions around miniature locomotives. So it's all about the optimization of energy usage, aerodynamics, and these actual train systems as well. So we're trying to provide a space for graduates to actually get in the area of trains and locomotives, so that they're actually prepared for that industry when they get out of the university.
That makes so much sense. I mean, there's automotive engineering and there's all these specific courses for different areas, but trains and transport area, I don't think I've ever heard of anything like that before.
I think every university has a motorsports team. We're the first train team out of all the universities, so that's quite exciting.
Very cool. And I mean, especially with such a big rail industry here, light rail as well.
Exactly, it's always there,
So if I'm a business coming to you and I'm like, I've got a problem, what kind of stuff, how does that work?
So everything from, we try to support students through programs where they can take on capstone projects, so like final year projects. They're supported by people like myself and other academics around Monash. Or we're looking for graduate programs to set up with other companies to place students in positions, or even doctorate programs as well. But largely it's all around industry projects and motivated industry projects where we can support them with researchers, academics and students.
Sounds fascinating. All right, so all the businesses out there, get on down, talk to the Monash guys.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Awesome.
Great to meet you.
Thank you.
I'm here with Bob from Core Additive. Bob, welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia.
Thank you, Shane.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Pleasure.
Now, you guys are a reseller of 3D Systems products.
Absolutely.
I mean, certainly in my limited experience, the 3D Systems brand's been a bit quiet lately, but it sounds like you have a bit of a resurgence.
Well, they're a well-known brand because 3D Systems, a lot of people don't know that they actually invented 3D 40 years ago. So because of that, we sell a whole range of different type of products.
Yeah. So maybe you could tell us a little bit about them.
Yeah, absolutely. One of our very popular products is our jewellery machine. Yep. So people who do wax casting for jewellery is a very popular machine.
Yeah.
One that's become more and more popular is a machine that can print this fella that's behind you here.
Yeah, right.
It can actually, in actual fact, print me, and it can print it in carbon fibre and nylon.
Yeah, right.
So more and more people are now going to the larger format machines. Mm-hmm. What they're finding, though, is when they go to the larger format machines, they're very, very costly to actually run.
Yep.
The nice part about this particular fella is that it prints from pellets. Therefore, the cost of running a machine is about 1/10 of the cost of normal filament machines.
What's the difference in terms of cost between pellet and filament?
Well, if you were to print, say, for example, this fella here, that costs about $185 to print.
Yeah, right.
Now, if you were to print that in straight filament, it would be over $1,000.
Yeah, right.
That's the difference. So the pellet now is becoming far, far cheaper to run. So people, when they're moving into 3D, should really consider not only just the purchase price of the machine, but then the ongoing cost of the machine.
Yeah, right. And does that mean that you get more flexibility with the type of feedstock that you're using pellet?
Absolutely, and it's open source as well. So a lot of companies are out there just selling their own filament, their own material. This one you can buy these pellets off anybody in Australia. Yeah. So that again makes it cheaper, and you're not tied to that manufacturer.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What are you seeing in terms of a migration away from sort of traditional reductive manufacturing to, I guess, 3D printing? What are the core use cases that are sort of shifting?
Well, I think the adoption of 3D printing in Australia hasn't been as strong as overseas.
Yeah.
The reality is that we don't have the population to support a lot of that, and we've got a lot of restrictions around medical, etc.
Yep.
So people are transitioning towards it now. I've been in the industry for about 12 years, and at the start people were printing dinosaur heads for school kids, but now they're printing end-use products.
Yeah, right.
Air conditioning companies printing ducts and things like that. You know, they're moving to full-blown production.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I reckon there's a use case for, as you said, we don't have a big population, so it makes sometimes some of these investments that are a little bit tricky. But I get the sense that on the global stage, there's a whole bunch of opportunity for Australian smart people to do design, R&D, and I think these things are a perfect example of how you can do rapid prototyping to get your product right.
Absolutely, we've got some fantastic designers here. Everyone talks about the car market going offshore, but Toyota, Holden, those companies still have designers in Australia. Yeah. They're doing designs, and that's only just one industry.
Yeah.
But there's multiple industries. There's people who buy this wax machine. Yep. The jewellers who are doing true production. The metal machines. Yep. They're just fantastic, and they're not moving away from CNC, but they're adding to their value of what they can offer the customer, which is mainly now a lot of short-run manufacturing.
And so, just to bring it back to the evolution of the industry, as you said, 3D Systems started it, if you want to call it that.
Yep.
There's another bunch of other players that popped up since over the last 40 odd years, or however long it's been.
Sure have.
Why 3D Systems and why Core Additive?
One of the things that people fail to grasp, I think, when they buy a machine is how many technicians do you have to service a machine?
Yeah.
Now, we've seen a lot of competition from overseas, different nations.
Yeah.
But what we're finding, though, is we're finding that they don't have the people on the ground.
Yeah.
Sure, it's a great price. Gee whiz, it's half the price of what 3D Systems are offering, but do they have the backup service where there's technicians on the ground in Australia that can service it? Because what you do is you buy a 3D machine and then you start to rely on it. Yeah. The last thing you want to do is find out that when you ring, they say, I'm terribly sorry, our only technician is in Singapore and he'll see you in 2 weeks.
Yeah.
That backup service really does 3D Systems full credit in that they not only sell it, but they service it and they carry all the parts and they carry all the materials in Australia.
Awesome. Mate, well, it's been amazing to have you on the show. Thanks very much for your time.
Good on you. Thanks, Shane.
Cheers.
Yeah.
I'm here with Seb from 3D Logistics. Seb, welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia.
Thank you.
Now, we've been wandering around. There's a heap of software vendors here today. and we still wandered past and we thought we can't walk past this without having a yarn to you. Obviously, WMS, it could mean a lot of things to a lot of people. And so maybe you just want to give us a brief on what do 3D Logistics do, what is WMS in your context, and some of the business problems you're trying to help solve.
All right, so a couple of points is most WMS, I'm going to dare say, are not true WMS in the sense that they are an inventory management system first with WMS functionality. Mm-hmm. So what we are doing is basically flipping this around in that we're starting with the WMS functionalities and then adding inventory management. So our core functionalities are all around true warehouse management, pick, pack, ship, receiving, optimizing space, optimizing efficiency for your pick, pack route. Yep. So WMS first with inventory management functionalities.
Yeah, cool. And what's your typical ideal customer look like?
If you have an e-commerce business, for example, you're pretty much the ideal customer for us in that sales order would come into 3D Logistics. We would take care of all of your pick, pack, ship requirement, integrate with different shipping platform, whether it be Starship It or MagShip, and then do the receiving so that you can replenish your warehouse. And we have, let's say, inventory management or supply chain functionality like purchasing that you can also leverage directly from 3D Logistics, and we're able to integrate with e-commerce.
This was going to ask you, so you've got certain capabilities on platform, but then you've got supply chain and logistics out one side, you've got ERP out the other, e-commerce, and so you're kind of effectively bringing that all together into your platform. Right?
Correct, correct. And we're not here to replace, meaning if you're happy with some of the software that you're using or functionality that you're using, it's working well for you, your users are happy. We're happy to just basically integrate into the existing system you have and basically come in and fill the gaps that there may be in the process that you have.
Yeah. So I'm a business and I'm struggling with inventory, warehouse management, etc. How do I know when I'm ready for 3D Logistics?
If you're a very small operator, you could be a one-person business at this point, taking your orders over the phone even, and everything's done on paper. We have a package that would be very accessible for you so that you actually don't have to do all of these manually. Mm-hmm. You could right away bring your business into 3D Logistics and take it from there and basically grow inside 3D Logistics.
Do you want to give us a bit of a demo of some of the features?
Sure, yes. So, as the name would say in 3D Logistics, the core of our system, or the backbone, I should say, is the digital twin of your warehouse. So we focus obviously on the elements that are important. So we're not going to go and create the office space and whatnot. So we're going to create the rackings and shelves. Now, there is no limit to the possibilities in terms of racking. It could be 5 high, the depth, the width, all of this is 100% configurable. And we've actually designed an interface that allows the user to do this without being an engineer or having experience with CAD software. Mm-hmm. So once we have the digital twin of your warehouse, things like, if I click on this location here, the system will tell me what's in that location. If I need a little bit more info, obviously I can right-click and see the whole pedigree of the product, or I have access to a couple more information here. Conversely, if I want to locate a product in here, it's going to show me where it is in the warehouse. The system, because now we have a 3D representation of your warehouse, we also have the volume of each location. We can put the maximum weight that this location can accommodate. Combined with your product dimensions, we can help you optimize space, maybe combining some items together into one location. But another thing we could do is we can optimize the picking by recommending you to move some items from the back of the warehouse to the front of the warehouse so that you have less steps and access to items that are turning over more often, more quickly, so improving efficiency of your picking. So this is really how the system basically is built around this 3D model. And then with everything, we strive to make everything as visual as we possibly can and get away from the traditional list view that you have in most systems nowadays. It all looks like Excel. I mean, we're all in front of these kind of tools, 6, 7, 8 hours a day. Yep. It'd be nice if it was a little bit pleasant and maybe a little bit more intuitive. So this is what we're trying to bring to the market with 3D logistics.
Awesome. Mate, it's been awesome having you on the show. Thanks for spending some time with us.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Cheers.
I'm here with Amit, Sean and Lenny from Hexagon. Welcome to Manufacturing Tech Australia. Thanks for coming on the show.
Yep. Thanks, Paul. Thank you so much.
So why don't you give us Amit, why don't we start with you? Give us like a brief overview of what you guys are working on at Hexagon.
Sure. Thanks, Paul. That's a great question. And so we are Hexagon, a Swedish company, and we are basically demonstrating here end-to-end solutions for manufacturing industries, starting with design engineering, with simulation softwares like CAE, CFD, FEA, FEM. Once you design your product with our softwares, then you produce it by using our CAD and CAM solutions. And then, of course, when you produce, you would like to measure whether the quality is up to the mark. That measurement can be visual detection, kind of defect detection, as well as the quality measurement in terms of, the dimensional. So that's what we are demonstrating here. As you can see, we start with this station here, starting with design engineering, defect detection. Then we have CAD-CAM. We have a tracker, which we are demonstrating for, general engineering, aerospace, shipbuilding industries, for example. So we go from sub-micron to millimeters, depending on what kind of components. And then we also have some softwares for process capability, quality data analytics, given with the AI and ML engine at the back end. So it's an end-to-end solution for all sorts of manufacturing industries, aerospace, automotive, mold and die, cabinet makers, sheet metal fabrication, precision engineering, medical implants, you name it, and we are there. So just to give you a perspective of Hexagon presence, 95% of the cars produced in the world are touched by Hexagon product. Right. 80% of the aeroplanes and almost 75% of the electronic goods equipments are touched by Hexagon. So that's a kind of,
So that's pretty cool. So full end-to-end, that means you can get that data out the other end when you're testing and validating a part in the field, feed it back into the digital model, and use that data to sort of improve it, keep it up to date.
Absolutely.
So I guess how many of those clients are using like a full digital twin analysis and support system for their products?
A significant one, when it comes to the spread. As I said, if we look at global data, almost 95% of the cars produced are touched by Hexagon solution. Right. It can be hardware, it can be software, it can be in quality. We are very big on coordinate measuring machines, absolute arm, scanner, tracker, CAD-CAM with few names like S3E57, NC Simul, Work NC, Vizi, and also on design engineering we are we have solutions like Nastran, Adams used very extensively in most of the industries here.
Okay. And what are the new innovations in the last sort of 12 months, or what are we seeing coming in in the future that's really changing the game for these guys?
So innovation is happening in all the product life cycle stages. Would you like to share on the metrology side what we are introducing here? Sean is the right.
So on the metrology side, beside the defect detection, which is actually very where a lot of customers are looking into it because we are detecting something that's beyond the microns in the nano sectors. Or we have scanners that actually scan to do reverse engineering, which is quite a lot because a lot of the components right now in the market is actually getting old and is actually well off. Some of the factories actually closed now. So actually a reverse engineering software device like this actually is good to capture everything I think wirelessly or whatever, which is part of us, and we just reverse up with our own software, the designer sort of software, to actually get the full product, print it out, and that's the end-to-end solution that we have.
Yeah, great.
Cool.
What are you working on at the moment, Lenny?
Just now you mentioned about the game changer for our CMM, our measurement technology, right? So actually we have a new solution coming in. It's called Maestro. It's actually one of our game changer in the metrology industry. So it's one of the fastest and highest accuracy CMM in the world. But stay tuned for more info. I cannot give you much info yet because it haven't launched officially in our control show. But once it released, everyone will be so excited about this new technology. Yeah.
And I guess with 3D printing, especially metal 3D printing, it's becoming even more and more important, right?
Correct. Yep. So for our latest CMM technology with the laser scanner, we are able to measure all the parts, like what you mentioned, 3D printing parts, or machine-produced part, very efficiently and effectively. Yep.
Excellent. Well, thank you all for coming on the show today.
Thank you.
And have fun at Manufacturing Week.
Yep. Thanks, Paul. Thank you so much.
That's a wrap for part 2 of AMW 2025. Thanks everyone for listening in today. Make sure you go and check out, we've got a dedicated AMW webpage where we've got 16 videos there on all the cool stuff from AMW 25 at manufacturingtech.au. Check it out. Please jump on our YouTube channel, like and subscribe to the podcast, and we'd love to hear your feedback on that.
Yeah, and if you're listening and you think I'd like to get involved and help us to deliver the message back to Australian SME manufacturers, we'd love to have you on board as a sponsor. Check out the sponsors page on our website or get in touch with us, and hopefully we can work together to really bring your message to the market. Cheers.
Until next week.
Thanks for tuning in to Manufacturing Tech Australia with Shane and Paul, recorded on the traditional lands of the Bunurong and Wurundjeri people. For more information, jump on the manufacturingtech.au website. Remember to hit the follow button to join us again next time as we continue to explore the intersection of manufacturing and technology.